it was a very good book called Traction. I know you read it because I know you touched a little bit on that module, and I was like, oh my God, this guy knows what he's talking about. And then it's like, oh, I should start sitting with Marc and see what he does and how he does it. And then you collectively collect all these ideas and see what all people are doing, and you share with all these smart people, because you're not the smartest in the room.
No. We all know something someone else doesn't that we can share. And that could be an experience, right? That could be when I say a trial and error, or, a lesson learned, or you learn through a mistake, right? I mean, that you made and you came out the other side, and you can share that experience. So yes, we all have knowledge that someone else doesn't, that we have to share. And so regardless of whether you think you're the smartest guy in the room or not, every one of us in there knows something you don't.
Absolutely. And this is where if people can, I see a lot of people, like even in the business meetings and peer groups that I do, I'm in multiple peer groups. And if we just can get over our heads and look at this beautiful company take off, just because you decided this is the right way is not necessarily the right way. But again, that's how you learn. You learn the hard way.
Well, and we only have to get it right once, right? And a lot of people don't see all the things. They say, oh, look how successful. Yeah, but define success, right? I mean, that's different for everyone. And then you also look at the aspect of going, hey, what they're not seeing is all the things that you tried that didn't work, that you learn from to apply the next time, is slightly different, right? All they're seeing is obviously this image of, oh, look at you and all of your employees and know what you're doing. Like, oh, you get this raving success. And yeah, but what they don't realize, all the hardship you went through, all the trial and error, all the, the mistakes you made, the mental anguish at times, right? I mean, we talked about being lonely. Lonely comes up quite frequently when we're having conversations with the CEO, as far as lonely in the business, lonely in leadership, lonely at the top. So that element of, I just totally derailed there. That I started thinking about EOS and then totally lost my train of thought, right? Like, because I wanted to lead into that as far as you talked about traction and obviously implement EOS in your business. And that was something you had to learn, right? And learn to apply. And I'm sure you made some adjustments along the way. I don't want to say necessarily mistakes. You made adjustments to make things work for you and your business. So what was some of the biggest things when you applied the traction and EOS concept to your organization? What were some of those things you applied that made the biggest impact?
I think letting go of the vine in general, just knowing that I'm not supposed to do this. Mm-hmm. I'm good at this, not that. Just knowing that, you can trust your people. Let them fail. Like, that's the hardest thing. You're sitting in a meeting, and I'm starting our sales department right now. And I sit with a meeting, and the new sales guy that I'm training, he makes a mistake in a meeting with a client or a potential client or a prospect. And you just really have to not say anything and just take a note of it, go talk about it later. And sometimes that will cost you a potential customer. But you're going to have to embrace that you can't be in every single room and doing every single task in this business. And that was the hardest thing. It's like, yeah, I would solve this. We get tickets because we're a service department, right? Mm-hmm. So I can solve this ticket in 1 minute. This guy took him 2 hours. But what I didn't do before, let him take the 2 hours, and next time he or she will fix it in 1 minute. And they'll have the experience that I have today. Because of course, when I first did it 20 plus years ago, it took me 2 hours, but I kept making a mistake, making a mistake. So specifically the new operating system for the business, if it's EOS or other than EOS, because we don't have fully EOS, we kind of did some adjustments.
Sure.
It's just you making sure that your people are there for the company as much as you are. And that was the hardest thing. It was hard. It's still hard. I'm not going to lie. I sit in a meeting and I try to shut up. Sorry. Let's correct it.
No, I get it. I mean, I'm firsthand. I'm like, yep.
That's a hard, I mean, you know your business. You created this from the get-go. You know every single element of it, whatever. And something come up. I was like, okay, I'm going to be silent and let them handle it. And that is beautiful. Like when you see them solve the problem, they're over the moon. I'm like the highest person on earth. It's like, oh my God, they know how to, this is amazing. And sometimes it hurts because, you know, especially with the older clients, if they make mistake with or whatever, you know what, let's cut this because the clients might be listening to it. Yeah.
No, that's okay. You know, it goes back to going, so you said you didn't fully implement EOS, obviously, but you put obviously some of the elements in place. You know, we're not full EOS either. We implemented more aspects of OKRs, right, into the business and a little bit more digestible based off of our size, right? In due time, I have participated in some EOS with some of my peers, right, in their organizations. But no, it's great. It's always, once again, it's all things of you are the smartest man in the room, but you didn't know anything about that until you read about that, right?
Yeah.
And then you were able to implement these things and letting go. That's very difficult. And it's you, because you don't want to see them necessarily make those mistakes, right? You know, it's knowing you could have prevented it, right? But you can't be there all the time. And at the same time, you know, let them learn a little bit on their own. And, you know, call it micromanaging, right? Like you don't want to necessarily micromanage it either. You have other responsibilities to the rest of your team when it comes to running your business. And it's not necessarily fixing that thing, right?
Yeah.
This on that ticket. And even though you might have had you said that you could have solved that in 30 seconds or whatever, 3 minutes, and it took them 2 hours. You know, do you afterwards, that kind of an after action kind of review that and say, okay, what do we learn from this? And, you know, the next time you experience this, what's your action plan? What's that going to look like? Because once again, how do we know what we're doing? Well, we know it from our experiences.
So speaking of that specifically, it just, you got to circle back and get to it. And the old me, the old ego, when I started this and just kind of started really taking off, I would say you said something about $200 million CEO running a business as a $12 million company. And what you do is you get caught in a moment. Like you're basically, oh, we're making it. So last year we added 75%, I believe, from the year before in business and revenue.
Top line revenue. Okay.
Yeah. And what the old me would just keep going. Like it was just, 2024, let's do another 75%. And then I was like, no, we need to restructure things. We need to actually pay attention. We need the right tools. And the most important thing, I need to sit down and talk to my people. I need to know their struggles. I need to know why you're not buying a house and that's your goal, right? Why? So we started the whole EOS thing, the rocks or the OKRs, the goal basically. We started putting it to our employees and we meet strategically to kind of follow up and scorecard it. We basically give you accountability on your life choices just to kind of push you. Like our peer group do this thing is like, hey, go work out. We have a group called Let's Go. So everybody's pushing each other to kind of work out because, you know, you easily can stay in the office till 8 p.m. Then you can't go to the gym or wherever.
Heck yeah.
Easy.
What are you talking about? Usually it's like 11, 12 o'clock before we leave the office a lot. So, I mean, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and just that, it's again, this is what we are leaving a mark in it on in this word is just you got to talk to your people, make sure what they were happy with yesterday not necessarily going to make them happy. And again, that's said in a lot of podcasts and a lot of books is not all people motivated by money. So if
True.
you think you're just paying your people enough, that's not enough. You gotta have to kind of sit down with them, figuring out what's going on. And then when you grow, you're gonna have to have your managers, your department managers, your C-level or whatever the organization org chart is to kind of sit down with their people. So we just made this is recent. It's like, hey, you do one-on-one every single week. How many people in your department? You one-on-one. You put time on your calendar. You gotta have to talk to these people because they're doing the grind. They're doing the work. And we don't know what's going on, mental, physical. Like we have an employee with some back issues or whatever, and you don't think about it at the moment. But one of my friends had a back issue, and at one point he was like, "I was thinking about suicide," and you don't think about it. It's like back issue, suicide. Why? It was like, It hurts so much. You don't understand. Medication is not killing that pain. And you think about it, it's like, oh man, do you know how many stories we have in our companies and our communities? Your next door neighbor, you just kind of have to sit and talk to people. After the story that I have in my family, I don't tell you how are you and just expect you to say, I'm good and just walk away. If I'm asking you, how are you doing? I mean it. I just want to know how are you doing for real.
You don't want to ask me that question.
We'll take it. We don't have it at a time. On the record.
No, seriously. I mean, yes, it's just not a polite. You're not just being polite, but you're generally asking. And you talked about touching base with your team on a regular basis. And we know that different things drive people differently. And we also know those things change, right? You talk about those goals change, your life changes, like what's driving them changes. So I commend you on connecting at that level. So what is somebody said, you talk about weekly meetings? Is that what you're saying? You're doing weekly connections?
We do one-on-one with the employees weekly now.
Okay.
And
what kind of feedback have you gotten from that?
It's amazing. You'll hear stories. To be honest with you, I'm not into those meetings, but I read the reports for them because we're still small. We're 9 people, but the service manager do it for the service team, and it's unbelievable. Like you work with this person, like you're desk to desk with this person, you have lunch with them and everything. But there's challenging, and there's also good news. Like you'll hear, it's like, oh really? You moved or whatever. It's just sad that when I see like companies just going at it, like without the human touch or the nature of it. Even with our clients, you don't know what they're going through. You're sending them invoices, and just like, if you have a smaller client, whatever, that account receivable or account payable person that you're working with, you don't know what they're going through. It's just, money, we talk about it. Money, when you do all the good stuff, you put your heart into what you do, your goal is to help, or your goal is to be a good person, and that's it, right? You're going to get money, because I'm a big believer in karma. And we touched a little bit, you and I, before this show on it. Is like, hey, there are certain things that happened to our retail business recently, and basically we're going to lose that business. And I was telling my daughter, my 12 years old daughter, the story, and she was like, they can do that? Is that legal? I was like, yes, it's legal, but maybe unethical. And the sweetheart child she was like, Dad, what goes around comes around. Let karma take care of it. And we were going like lawyers and we're going to sue and whatnot. Mm. And as soon as she said that, dude, it was like, you know what? She's right. What goes around comes around. So many times, I left my home country, my comfort zone.
Right, yeah.
I own business. I know so many connections. I have bank customers. I built an ISP for a client. We were hitting home runs, grand slams, and moved here. And how I am in this seat today is literally karma. We just help people. They'll come back at you. Don't think about the reward momentarily. You're not going to lose weight in one day dieting. Just diet. Don't diet. Change the way you think about food. Change the way you think about customer service, technical support. Don't fix a problem because you want to get the paycheck at the end of the week. Fix a problem because you want that happiness because you actually solved the problem. And maybe nobody can fix a problem. And you went and you put it, we document like the solutions that we have, and you put it for the whole company to see. And yes, we do low rewards now in the office on every single ticket. And it's just amazing, that little feeling, like it's literally nothing. It's just nothing, the reward, but it's just a feeling. It's just, oh my God, I was able to do this. Yeah. So we are human. We're driven by actually success. Unfortunately, not a lot of people are, but what drives you is different from what drives me. And why I wake up in the morning is totally different why some people wake up in the afternoon, right? And just finding that little tune and finding out what you actually here for is just blessing.
No,
and it takes time. I mean, I'm still learning. But what I was 10 years ago, I'm not the same person. I've learned so many things and I still have a lot to learn. Sometimes I go on a book rally for like weeks and I get depressed. And I was like, I get so many ideas and I get so many things and I can't implement any of them when I'm so tired. It was like,
but you can't let that get you down, right? Obviously, that the time will come. Right. The time will come that you can implement those things, or and maybe it's just as you prioritize those things. Hey, what's going to make the biggest impact on my life, the biggest impact on others' life, on our clients' lives? So when you implement these things and prioritizing them, and I know that can be a struggle because I want to do it all now. I want to do it all right now, right?
Yeah, and slow down.
But that's not real.
The slow down factor too, man. It's like me rallying on book. Literally, it was like, I want to get. Sometimes I start two books together. It's like, hey, I want to learn. I'm dead serious. I'm reading 3 books right now.
I can see Naz. He's got a book. He's reading a book and he's listening to Audible at the same time, right? Like, oh, wait, it's not time out. That doesn't work.
not to that, but actually, I would do like 2 Audible. I have one for my morning walk.
Okay.
On my watch. And then I have my night book and I have my during the day drive book on my phone. It's 3 different. I do it, but I've learned, and this came with age, to slow myself down. I used to wake up. So let's say I have to be in a meeting at 7. Okay. I'll wake up 6:55. I click the coffee, shower in 1 minute. I'm so fast. I could boom, 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 boom. I'm dressed and I'm ready in the meeting at 7, and that was killing me. Dude, I had to learn how to slow down. I actually bought a machine where I have to make my own coffee. So I have to grind it. I have to put it on a scale, and I kind of craft my coffee to start my day slow so I can go tackle the word, but with like not rushing into it. It's just like literally weighing the options, thinking about it. I mean, I was reading US had 2,600 Olympic medal, gold medal. The next country, which is, I totally forgot who, have 1,600. So we're 1,000 medal above any other country.
Okay.
And do you know what that is? Why that is?
No, why is that?
Because they're catching up to the US now, because they don't take things slowly and kind of like literally give it the right time to think about it. If you go to any other part of the world and you watch a game, all what's in the game, all what's going on TV is like, hey, goal or wherever. It's just here. It's like, you know that this player has more 3 points than the percentage of other player. It's all numbers, statistics. It's a science. It's not just a sport. It's actually a science in the sport. So you cannot do that when you're rushing into things. Your decision making will be rushed into it. You gotta have to learn how to slow down.
Analyze the data.
Analyze the data and take your time. Nobody's dying today based on your decision, but you will kill yourself rushing. And I had to learn that the hard way. It's like, hey, what am I making that decision so quick for? What's the next book? What am I going to learn next? And that whole fire inside you, just going to have to just like calm it down a little bit. Think about it. It's amazing what age does to you, man. It's just amazing. Like, I was crazy guy. Like, I would run off walls, get business, jump here and there. I was like, now it's like, no, you gotta slow down. You have family around.
It's a marathon. It's a marathon, right? It's not a sprint.
Yeah, they're gonna lose you. They're gonna lose you.
Wonderful. So Naz, we touched on a little bit of you bringing your Syrian background, right? Your culture. You came to the U.S., started this business. Talk about the people and the one-on-ones. What would you say culture of your organization? You talk about giving back and learning and growing, but what other elements has influenced the culture of IT for Scrubs today? Some of the things that make your culture unique based off your experiences.
Yeah, good. That's an amazing question. Me running back, piggy tale of the story. Running. Didn't pay attention for the people around you, and I think the culture that we have now is like, we literally just kind of listen. We kind of slowed down. The whole company culture is like slowed down. We're still like, hey, if a customer down or whatever happened, we're on fire for it, for sure.
Sure. Responsive.
The whole company, if a client goes down, and it rarely happens, but if it happens, we're actually on fire, like the whole team. But knowing that we're actually very chill. We're very like friendly between each others. We know each other's very well because it's the human aspect of it. It's not the business aspect of it. Yes, and sometimes giving somebody raise because it's essential for their existence, or with this inflation, what's going on nowadays, and knowing is, back in the days, I would just, somebody in need, let's just help. And knowing now is like, no, we have a target, we have whatever. And it's still that culture of balance between what business is and what your people are. And this is the thing that actually built our company culture. We were COVID before, we were like working from home, right? And just going back to office and meeting. We meet twice a day, morning huddle, afternoon huddle. I'm not in all the meetings. I'm trying to build the new chapter, right? But just knowing that they have that connection, they know that if Mark cannot solve this, I'm confident if I escalate it to Nas will take care of this. Just trust in the team, like a sport team. They trust each other's.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm the best 3 shooters out there. Maybe I am. But I'm going to trust Mark to shoot it this time.
Hi, I'm Marc Thomas, founder and CEO of Current Tech Solutions and Cyber Guardians. If you or someone you know could benefit from our cutting-edge IT and cybersecurity services, we'd love to help. Our expertise in securing your business with AI precision ensures that you're protected and empowered to thrive. Reach out to us today to learn how we can secure and elevate your business.